Welcome to the Kitsap Literary Artists and Writers of Washington and its monthly author showcase. I'm your host, Mark Miller. Today I have the distinct pleasure to interview a friend and associate creative, Jolene Loraine. Jolene is an actor, filmmaker, sci-fi author, and a producer on a special project involving traumatized youth and horses, which I really want to pick her brain about. We met at Tacoma Filmmakers and Screenwriters some 3 years ago, and I've followed her creative career since then. Jolene, glad you could make it.
I'm glad to be here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So we're going to start with some of our typical standard questions that we always ask everybody here on the quote-unquote, I like to call it the claw hot seat. How did you first create the creative bug? Did you begin as an actor first, or a writer, filmmaker, or what?
Puppetry.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, my parents are professional puppeteers. They've been professional puppeteers long before I was born. So I was just kind of dropped right into that, and they have theater experience and everything. So I was on the road with them and in front of people and performing. We also performed in different film projects as well. So it got I got into different studios and stuff at a very early age, and so I just got the bug pretty much from birth. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And so from a writing perspective, I've always told stories even before I could actually write them down. I was telling stories as a child to my sister and stuff. So yeah, it's just innate.
So you see yourself as a storyteller, because I get this argument with people as to what authors are. I say we're storytellers, not story showers.
Yes, yes.
We're storytellers.
Yes, and definitely as a storyteller, both as an author as well as a filmmaker.
Cool. When we first met in the Tacoma Filmmakers group, I had a little piece of a script I was writing and everything down there at the Grand Theater in Tacoma where we meet, and you actually did some of the reading, because we do reads down there so we can see what our scripts sound like. And one of my characters is named Jolene, and you basically said, oh, you very seldom see that name in the film, and I was wondering if you had any idea of why nobody ever picks the name Jolene for a character.
It's not a very common name. Just walking down the street, you don't really see too many Jolenes.
Oh,
and
yeah?
so it's probably just has to do with what's common and what's not. And so I'm not really sure.
Okay.
I like being unique, I guess.
Well, I know. Well, I just remember that conversation we had
Yeah,
that time.
yeah.
Like, 'cause when I picked the name, I wasn't even thinking. I just, oh, that sounds like a name. Boom, you know.
Yeah.
So you've got a very extensive sci-fi world, and you've got a sci-fi series, and they're sitting up here on the table.
Yes.
And can you and you've also got a very unique beastie over there in the corner.
Yeah.
So if you can kind of explain the beastie and the books and the whole arc and how they all fit together.
Yeah, well, the sci-fi series is Nighthawk, and it's a series that I started to work on when I was about 12 years old, so they are some 25 years old now, which kind of ages me, but what can I say?
Hey, as you get older, you get better.
Hey, I guess, it's like fine wine.
Yeah.
So I was developing the world for decades, and so it's just all of the different characters and the cultures, the aliens. It takes place completely on another world, so having to develop a whole other world of cultures and how humans would fit into it, and the languages and stuff like that. And so the books, they were not necessarily something I had thought of as actually writing down for a long time, but there were people that were just saying, you need to get them out. You just need to write it down. And so started putting it into a form that could be enjoyed by other people. And then it's about, 4 years ago that I got them published. But the real passion is always to have them in film. And so that's why this guy came into play.
Cool.
And he's actually the prototype for the film projects that we want to do. But he's called the Larcray, and he's actually built by my dad, so that puppetry thing comes in handy at times. He is an actual puppet, so he does have controls. He can move his head, and he can open his mouth and everything. The controls are down there. But I wear him around my shoulders and stuff, and I can go to different events. People always ask about him. It's a great way to promote the books, but it's also, as I said, a prototype for the puppets and stuff that we want to be able to build for the film down the road here. So he has kind of a dual purpose.
But in the books,
In
he's
the
not a
books.
real, he's, shall we say, kind of aggressive, right?
He is very aggressive. In the books, he's actually, this is called a Larcree, and he's actually a creature that is owned and trained by the villains in the story, the bad guys. And they actually use them as creatures of war. So they've trained them to hunt enemy soldiers and then to attack, and they go for the face and the neck and everything. And they have very, very vicious claws and teeth, so they can do a lot of damage and stuff. And so, so in the stories, they're very terrifying and stuff. But he's a tame one. We've trained him well.
And I'm trying to remember, could they glide or?
Yes, they can. They do have the gliding capabilities.
Okay, and so that's what makes them even more dangerous.
Yes. They like to climb up into things and then glide down and attack. So they're very hard to actually avoid, and so that.
And the world you created, is it populated by human-type humanoids primarily, or?
Primarily, yeah, there's a lot of humanoids. The human population is actually very small in the
Oh,
world.
okay.
But a lot of the species, the Kellihi, which is the dominant species, the Teshians, the Oxorans, they're all humanoid. However, there are a few that are not humanoid. The Kandonians are very strong alien species in the world, and this closest allies to the humans, and they're actually horses. They look like horses,
cool.
and there's a whole explanation as to why they look like horses, but you'd have to read the books for that.
Of course.
And and there's also monogamites and stuff which are an intelligent being, but they're very animal-like. They're not the typical human.
Did you kind of like run into what I ran into? Mm-hmm. You're trying to create an alien species, but you don't want it to just be a bug-eyed monster like back in the 50s. So you've got to do the whole culture thing and trying to make it realistically, and it would be based on what you would foresee as nature would create through evolution.
Yeah, I definitely look at animals in our world, because I've always studied zoology. I love biologies and stuff like that, and so looking at what is the environment and how would an animal really look and function in those different environments, and base all of the designs off of that. And the intelligent creatures were more of the, yeah, like you, I don't want to just go with the bug-eyed monster kind of thing, or why do aliens all have to look like giant insects or something? It's like, no. There's a variety of different looks, but a lot of them, people do ask a lot about why, why especially movies, through the years, have many of them been humanoid, and it's like, well, because the ones that are performing them are human.
Yeah.
And it's like we can't hire an actual whatever and stuff, and before CGI, I mean, it was a person in a costume. And so actually a lot of the book, with the Nighthawk books, was written with the thought of it going to film, and a film that would be done, not just sell it to Hollywood and let them do whatever, hundreds of millions of dollars in CGI and whatever they want to do with it, but it's like, okay, what can I write to allow a really good look, but maybe not so high on the budget, and still having human actors is going to be easier than having everything be CGI and stuff. So that's why a lot of the characters are still humanoid, and even horses, they look like horses because horses are easier to get than an alien.
The old Star Wars cantina scene, when most of those creatures were kind of humanoid.
Yeah.
I think for that reason.
A lot of it is, yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so it kind of, so I had to think on those terms. It's like, okay, I intend to put these to film, so how do I need to write them in order to allow it to stay that world, but to film it in a way that's doable? So that's kind of why they look the way they do.
Do you have any other books in the works?
Well, not in the, I mean, I do have I have another novel series, not series, just a single standalone novel called Soul Finder. It's a modern day, so this world, this time.
Okay.
And it's about a man who's suffering from severe trauma in his life and having to then take care of a person who is in a very similar situation of severe trauma, and it's through their shared griefs and stuff that they can learn to heal. So a very different style from the Nighthawk, which is very action and
Right.
the sci-fi. A lot of people like to say it's Star Wars meets Firefly for the Nighthawk series.
cool.
So
Okay.
Soul Finder is very different from that, but it was just something that I just felt like I just needed to write down. And so I just wrote it down, got it out, and we're hoping to actually put that to film as well.
Who does your covers? Because I was looking at them, they're really nice.
Well, the original cover designs, the first two books of Nighthawk and Nighthawk Battle Cries, were done by a really good friend of mine named Chris Miller.
Oh, okay.
And he taught me how to do the book covers and the design, and he taught me how to use DAZ 3D, which is a software, which I've totally fallen in love with. And so he was in charge of doing all of the design work for the first covers, and then I did the covers for, well, he and I collaborated on Heroes Dawn, and then Stormfront is my design. So I did the cover for Stormfront. And then Soul Finder, that's just a photo. And it's actually my dad's hand and my hand.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, so we just went to a little photo studio and got pictures.
So all the authors out there starting out trying to get do their own thing on self-publishing. This is called DAZ 3.
DAZ 3D.
DAZ 3D.
Yes, and it's a computer software that allows you to do computer graphic design, and they're even into animation now. There's so many applications for the program.
Cool.
The software is free. You have to pay for each of the different products, but you can pay, and somebody has already made the humans for you. You don't have to like go pixel by pixel and create things from the
so
start.
you can just modify stuff.
Yeah,
you
can modify things, and anything that you've paid for and put together is yours. You know, you don't have to pay royalties on or anything, and so it really makes it nice to create book covers, concept art. I'm actually working on a graphic novel series for kids using DAZ as well and stuff. So it has a lot of applications for people who are looking to be able to do a lot of computer imagery, but they're not maybe totally skilled like I am. I do not have any skills in that area, so.
Welcome to the club.
Yes.
Now I'd like to delve into a very special film project under White Horse Entertainment named Hoofbeats of the Northwest. Get my mouth working. You produced and directed this project and involved using horses to benefit youth suffering from very traumatic experiences. Can you kind of explain this whole project and how you got started in this very ambitious endeavor?
Yeah. Well, Hoofbeats of the Northwest is the very first project of White Horse Entertainment, which is my film company, which has got started 2 years ago. So we're just a little over 2 years old now. And I had always wanted to showcase horses in the Northwest because, for whatever reason, people don't realize that there are horses here in Western Washington.
Right.
And even people who've lived here all their lives are surprised at the number of horses. And so I wanted to do a documentary to show a lot of different horses and a lot of different things that they do throughout Western Washington. And it narrowed down to actually 5 different venues that use horses in ways that can benefit the greater community. So you don't have to own the horse to be benefited by them. And so we looked at actually several different venues in the documentary, including the Seattle Knights, whom I actually worked with for a while as a knight. So showcasing how horses can be used to educate about history as well as to entertain, and also with youth camps and stuff, and how horses can help kids just really come out of their shell and to learn about relationships, and then also therapy. And one of the venues that we looked at for therapy was Raven Rock Ranch.
Whoa.
And they take horses that have been rescued, and they use them to help teenagers and youth who have gone through really severe traumas. And horses have this amazing ability to connect emotionally with people, and they can actually read human emotions on a level that a lot of other animals can't. Yeah. And so they're using horses a lot more for PTSD and depression and all these different really hard emotional issues with people. And so this particular organization, they use the horses to help teenagers, and some of these teenagers, I mean, they've been through a lot. Yeah. They've been through some pretty hard stuff, and so it's really amazing to see how they can put them with the horse and through different sessions to help the kids start to open up and to speak and to get the counseling they need, as well as to just start to heal emotionally and stuff.
Horses and dogs, for some reason, and maybe it's because they've been in human society and culture for so long, they've developed a special bond with us, you know, and like you said, they have this ability to see what we're, and feel how we're feeling. And of course, horses live a lot longer than dogs, you know, being herbivores and stuff. So I guess it's kind of fascinating. That's why it drew me when I definitely wanted you to get on here to talk about it when you talked about this whole program about, because understanding that, of course, some of these people use rescued horses too, which I worked down in the Arizona, Texas area, and there's a big kerfuffle down there about the wild Mustangs. Oh. And so that's why when you started talking about the rescue horses too, I always was drawn to it.
Yes. Yeah. Well, they find that the rescued horses really connect well with the kids. It's almost as if they understand, having come from possibly hurtful situations of their own, that they can connect with those who are also suffering from emotional traumas and everything. And it's like, see, I've healed, now I can help you heal. And so they just really find that these rescued horses really do have this really strong connection with the kids. And so it's really a win-win. I mean, they're rescuing and helping the horses, but they're also rescuing and helping the kids as well. And so we've really admired the work that they do, and we really we found that we really wanted to support them. And so we're actually giving 10% of all of our proceeds from Hoofbeats of the Northwest to Raven Rock Ranch to help with their programming. Cool. They want to expand. They want to add some more therapists into the mix so that they can reach more kids. And there's also talk about adding sessions for military veterans as well who are suffering PTSD. So we find that really, really encouraging.
You're definitely going to have to keep us appraised about that.
Yes. Yeah.
But, how did you finally wind up editing the film?
Well, amazingly, we were able to find a professional editor, which is really good because I am not a professional editor. And his name is David Roberts, and he's very good. And I actually got to meet him through Tacoma Filmmakers when I shared about Whitehorse when we first became a company and stuff. Yeah. And he signed up for our newsletter. And so when we started talking about needing an editor, he reached out to us, and he has a great track record and stuff. So connected with him and talked it out, and it was just like, yep, this is a fit. And so he taught me how to do the rough cut of the project. So I kind of got everything put together in more or less the correct order, and then handed it off to him, and he cleaned it all up and got it all smoothed out and made it look a lot better than I did. But so I really appreciate the work that David Roberts did on that. And when we got into snags and stuff, I would just go, I don't know what I'm doing here, take it, and he'd figure it out and fix it. So
if I remember rightly, Dave had some background in the news, working for some news companies and stuff down in the Southwest and stuff too. So that's something he got a lot of his background in. Mm-hmm. So have you entered this film into any film competitions?
We did enter it into some different competitions. We were picked up by the Ellensburg Film Festival in October, and so it was shown for the first time on big screen in October in Ellensburg. We haven't entered it in anything recently, just because we've been trying to focus a lot of our attention and everything into some other projects that we want to do. We don't want to just stop at the one documentary. So we're really working on trying to get those projects off the ground, and also having to pool our very small financial resources at this time to the filming instead of festivals at the moment.
Were you thinking of doing a follow-on film specifically connected to this one right now, or not?
Not anytime soon.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not really thinking of doing that. If opportunities and we just feel like, yeah, we need to or we want to, then, you know, I'm leaving the door open.
There you go.
But no.
Yeah.
Documentaries aren't really my thing.
That's right. Yeah. I was wondering, because documentaries, it seems to me that in some ways it's almost a split. You get the people that really like documentaries, and the people that really like just the fiction stuff. And when you try to do the two, it's because you're kind of filming from two different types. You know, it's trying to keep the focus. You know, and I guess I haven't seen that many people who can delve into. I mean, some people have done very good. They've dealt in documentary, and they've dealt in the actual quote unquote Hollywood stuff. But at the same time, it seems like there does be a tendency towards people, well, pick one or the other to do, rather than trying to jump across.
Yeah. I think it was a good first platform, and it was definitely a nice way to start off. But I love watching documentaries, but writing them, I like having a script.
Oh, that's true.
I really like having a script. And then the one thing with the documentary, the script almost basically comes after you filmed everything.
There you go.
And so you go into the field and you don't know what you're going to get. You don't know what people are going to say.
Yeah.
You can have your questions, but they're going to answer it any way they want. And so having to try to figure out how am I going to, you know, put this together and how is it all going to sound and look at the end is really
and of course,
challenging.
occasionally the horses have an agent, and that, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And then that causes problems too. So.
Yeah, luckily all these horses were really good and everything. The insurance problem was
really?
Just getting the proper insurance together because we're filming horses. And the insurance company, it took us quite a while to actually explain to them that we were just there to document these horse, venues. We were not in charge of training horses to do specific work with a specific trainer and actor, anything like that. And so it took a couple of phone calls and explanations for them to figure that out and everything. It's like, no, we're just there to observe. But it was kind of challenging in that respect.
So for the BCAT audience, that's something else we've just learned that nobody even thought about. Okay.
Yeah. Insurances can definitely, especially when you work with any kind of animal, you know, it's tricky. So give yourself plenty of time. That we learned the hard way because we were applying for the insurance well ahead of time, but not far enough ahead. I mean, we got the insurance in place, I think 24 hours before we started filming.
Okay.
So it was
Tight.
right down to the wire. Yeah, and lots of stress.
If you had a dream job or a project that you could do, if somebody walked in and did the magic money wand, ding, what would it be?
It would be Nighthawk.
Okay.
It would be the Nighthawk series. In fact, that's the whole reason that White Horse Entertainment exists.
Oh, okay.
And it came because Nighthawk, like I said before, I never really saw it as novel. I always saw it as film. And yet, for all of the ideas and all the dreams I had for it to be film, I just couldn't. I couldn't really give the idea to Hollywood. I just really didn't think that I could ever just sell it to Hollywood. It would be too easy for them to just take it and butcher the story. And I didn't want that. And so I figured the only way that I would be able to put it to film is to do it myself, which is really daunting. It still is very, very daunting, but it is the ultimate dream that I have, is to be able to put it to film and to do it at the same level visually and professionally as Hollywood, but to really, focus on, the characters and the emotion and the story. That's really, really important to me.
So you've kind of already talked about some of the pros and cons and stuff that you've already had about filming and writing as an author and everything else. So Do you have any other planned specific future projects at all?
Oh, we have quite a few actually. Nighthawk again is the really big goal. That's one that we really, really want to push for, but it is a big project. You know, when we talk about it, it's like it's on the level of Star Wars. That's big. That's not something that you can just do overnight.
Exactly,
Unless that magic money wand comes our
Yeah,
way. Then
magic money
I'd be
wand.
very happy for that. So we're starting a little smaller and working our
Yeah.
way up. We actually have a supernatural thriller that we're looking at kind of playing with, either doing some just promo filming this summer
Right.
or actually filming it this summer. We're not quite sure yet. So that would be our first feature, possibly. Our first major feature film would be Soul Finder. It's a lot simpler to film
Yeah.
a story that takes place in the here and now than on another planet.
Right.
And so we're looking at Soul Finder, and when I say a major feature film, it's because we are looking to hopefully get like a name actor
Yeah.
and stuff in there. But then we also look at, we're looking at a couple of different series, both for adults as well as
Cool.
for children. So
And so how would people want to get a hold of you for any possible coordination, for any possible gigs or anything like that? Do you have websites, stuff like that?
oh yeah, we have a website. So www.whitehorse-et.com. So that is our main website. You can contact us through there. We're also on Facebook and Twitter. Hopefully we'll be getting up on Instagram and stuff here pretty soon too. So there are some different ways to contact us. We are not currently just going out and for hire. So if other people are like, hey, could you come and do our
Yeah.
movie for us? We're not really doing that right now. However, you can always contact us and pick our brains or ask
Yeah.
and just see what possibilities there are. We're always
Cool.
open to that.
Okay. Well, I would really like to thank you for coming here today, Jolene. We've been working on trying to get you here for a while, especially once I found out you had this project with Hoofbeats of the Northwest. So, and of course, with White Horse Entertainment, we'd like to be able to see you stay in the public eye and do some other projects. So please stay in touch. I
Well,
say
thank you
greatly
so much for
appreciate
having me
coming
here. Thank you.
I would like to thank all of our viewers for tuning into Bremerton Kitsap Access Television and viewing this Kitsap Literary Artists and Writers production. I also wish to thank the BCAT staff on cameras and in the director's chair. They worked to make this broadcast a success. This broadcast interview is scheduled for March 2019 at 6 p.m. every Saturday evening on Channel 3 on Wave Cable, Channel 12 on Comcast. You can also check the BCAT webpage for streaming. Keep in touch with our Facebook pages for updates on what Kitsap author we will be interviewing in the future, in addition to events the authors will attend in the community. We at CLAW have as a mission statement to help authors and artists become known to the public, to expose their artistic endeavors to the residents of Kitsap County and to the world. Thus, we plan to continue this endeavor as long as the BCAT staff and the viewing public support us. CLAW exists for the artists, the authors, to help with marketing, distribution, and publicity. We meet the first and third Wednesdays of every month at the Spiro's Pizza on Kitsap Way in Bremerton, Washington at 7 p.m. All are welcome. Also, for filmmakers and actors, we have a related group, Kitsap Peninsula Filmmakers, which meets at the second Tuesday of every month at the Family Pancake House on Wheaton Way, also at 7 p.m. Once again, everyone is welcome. We're not the only group out there. There are many independent writers and critique groups in Western Washington. Vincent at 724 Studios on 724 Bay Street in Port Orchard is not only showcasing painters, but also supporting local authors reading their works. Also, the Blue Forge Group, which encompasses films, publishing, comics, music, and artwork, is a strong supporter of the arts in Kitsap County. Part of the group, Blue Forge Films, is assisting in moving many of Claude's shows to YouTube and other internet sites. Blue Forge Press has been instrumental in helping me and others in publishing their works. I hope everyone has a pleasant day and a productive and fascinating year. Until next time, I am Mark Miller with Kitsap Literary Artists and Writers, in conjunction with Bremerton Kitsap Access Television. Good day.
Raven Rock Ranch is a place where we really treat kids with trauma, largely trauma. And we say that we intercept and break the cycles of fatherlessness, teen suicide, domestic violence, and human trafficking. Horses are the perfect animal for experiential learning and experiential rebuilding and renegotiating neural pathways. They help people with physical disabilities. They help people with emotional disabilities. They help people that are just simply lonely. And people bond with their horse and their horse bonds with them. It's 100% donor funded, and because we don't have pressure from any state agencies or government agencies to hurry up or make a diagnosis or any of those things, we are able to take the time we need to help that child into a healthy, functional life. I don't want to build more homeless shelters. I don't want to build better jails or more rehab centers. I want to stop it before it gets there. And that's what Raven Rock really does.
Whether it's through entertainment, relationship building, emotional and physical healing, or rejuvenation brought by experiencing nature, the horse has maintained its place in the Northwest as a valuable contributor to our community.
A lot of places that horses can go that people that maybe they wouldn't be able to hike up to the top of the mountains, and they can take a horse and go up and enjoy the same thing that the hikers enjoy.
They help people with physical disabilities. They help people with emotional disabilities. They help people that are just simply lonely.
And the horse just does that naturally. It just happens, and it's amazing.
All that horsemanship and learning how to just trust everyone, and coming out of dark places, it really brings light into my life.
The horses are everything. Without the horses, we wouldn't be doing this. I mean, it's just that simple.